we right now? What's happening in here? Very noisy, very chaotic.
We're at the Fulton Street Brewery. This is our production brew house. It's a 5-vessel, 50-barrel system. Again, it's a production facility, so we're making the larger batches of Matilda and Sophie, and primarily Bourbon County. Being a production facility, you think that we're just making beer on a massive scale. We just put in a pilot system downstairs, and basically what that revolves around is having our brewers develop new recipes and have an outlet for creativity, because it can get long and monotonous just brewing a flagship beer. We have to have an outlet for that creativity for brewers to express themselves. So we're in the fermentation cellar at Goose Island. This is where all the beer is basically made. Earlier we were talking about our brew house where we combine all the ingredients. This is where all the yeast does its work.
How long would they stay here for?
Depending on the beer, most of our beers go through about a 2-week fermentation, from the first inoculation all the way through to crashing the beer and cooling it down, getting it ready for package and processing.
So what are we gonna try here?
This is our 4-star Pils. Cheers.
Yeah, it's raw, but it's still really drinkable and really enjoyable. It's the same beer, but just at a different phase in there.
Exactly. It'll change immensely, and that's kind of how we can gauge where this is going. We'll take this through taste panel. We'll make sure it's in the right direction. If there's any corrective measures we need to impart, we'll do so now, before it's filtered.
Walked around the facility and noticed all the tanks and all the brewing equipment, but not a single barrel. And one of the key things for Bourbon County Stout is the bourbon in the barrel. Where are they, and why are we standing in an alleyway right now?
Up until earlier this year, we did all our processing, all our extraction and filling of barrels here at this facility. We stored all our barrels across the street, and basically that was that. We ended up developing a space issue. We opened up a barrel facility a 1.5 miles from here. So now you can take note of this hole right here. Every Bourbon County and every sour sister and every barrel-aged beer goes through here into a tanker truck that sits right outside. We are shipping beer to and from pretty much daily.
Many of your beers undergo a long journey from brewing to fermentation to the barrels. I mean, more than a year can pass from sort of brewing to the fact that we actually get to drink the beer. So what does that passage of time, especially in the barrels, contribute to the beer?
Depending on the type of maturation, each barrel acts is kind of its own micro ecosystem, producing a lot of organic acids and very volatile bouquets of new flavors as it re-ferments in the barrel.
Should we drink it?
Let's do it.
Oh, this looks beautiful.
Cheers.
All right, cheers. Yeah, it's got that soft fruitiness to it, but yeah, like a very pleasing dry finish, but a little bit of acid on the back end. What would you actually pair this with? Anything that you like?
Probably seafood. Both Sophie and Halia have that nice acid citrus green component to it.
It'd be interesting to see what happens with Sophie as a difference in there.
Let's try it.
Yeah, let's give it a go.
So again, Sophie is our farmhouse or saison. We rely on that wheat quality in the brew house to carry over into the beer. There's that pepper, there's a lot of lime. Both Sophie and Halia will pair very nicely with seafood.
So you use wild yeast and peaches, and this beer uses orange zest in here. Do you use any other fruit in any other beers?
We do, specifically with Madame Rose here, that we ferment in barrels for up to 1.5 years with cherries and a melange of different microbes. You're gonna pick up a lot of that tart cherry, a little bit more of acidic.
Yeah, I like this a lot. It could do really well with like duck or something roasted.
Exactly. This one will pick up a little bit more of that, again, wininess to it.
So we've talked a lot about all the different sour beers you guys do, but Bourbon County Stout, let's finally get to that.
Let's do it. So the interesting thing about the barrel-aged portion of Bourbon County Stout is it relies a lot on those microbes to produce all those flavors. It's actually the surface area and the caramelization of the sugars in the oak, as well as that micro-oxidation that imparts a lot of the new flavors that you wouldn't otherwise pick up in sour beer. Cheers. You'll again pick up a lot more of the high caramels, figs, prunes, but also those chocolates, the vanillin, the cinnamon, the coconut, they're all there.
So what happens with Bourbon County Stout with the effects of time for a couple years in the bottle?
Bourbon County will pick up a lot of that micro-oxidation as it breathes in the wood, so that necessarily can't be eliminated into the bottle. You'll see a lot more fruit qualities developing in the bottle. Once it gets to year 4 and 5, more of those figs, more of those prunes, the currants, you'll start to pick up those harder stone fruit qualities. Cheers.
Cheers.